Let's begin today's Vanguard news by making you wish that Vanguard Skyride was an actual anime series, as the to cover units of DZBT-12 are getting some card accessories. And it goes without saying that Suina's sleeves will be the new Guna meta, as it'll be hoarded and sold at a huge markup. Meanwhile, English players can get their Monster Strike collab fix with their sleeves if they don't come out in English. After losing to a Heart Laru because they're healed at 6 damage twice on the same turn. The last thing I want to do for the night is cover the nation. That is never fucking punished. But since I'm desperate in need of money and nobody uses the super thanks function. Razeblaze Polka is your typical D-series starter whose custom stockings must have costed a fortune. Razeblaze Karanta, when ridden over by Razeblaze Tarantella, lets you add up to 1 dragoroid that isn't a sentinel or a normal order from the top 5 cards of your deck. For a second there I thought I was reading a Keta Sanctuary right line, as they don't usually have abilities on their first turn. Oddly enough, he specifically searches dragoroids and orders. A Clarissa player suddenly felt pain that I can only describe as when your deck becomes obsolete. Razeblaze Tarantella, while on Vanguard, gives all your dragoroid trigger units 5k shields if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. And when she's ridden over by a grade 3 Razeblaze card, add up to 1 dragoroid that isn't a sentinel or a normal order from your drop zone. Unless you're a die-hard lyrical Monasteria fan who collects every card to sharpen your pointy pencils with. Pray to Messiah that these specific triggers get reprinted in this set. On a side note, notice that the right lines so far are human unit cards. Razeblaze Folia, while on Vanguard, gives all your dragoroid trigger units 5k shields. She then increases their trigger effects by 5k power during your turn. Once per turn while on Vanguard, you can pay 3 energy to add up to 1 dragoroid that isn't a sentinel or a normal order from the top 7 cards of your deck. Then retire one of your opponent's rear guards with a grade equal to the card you added with this ability. And while on Vanguard, you can pay 1 counter blast when she attacks. To stand all of your front row dragoroid rear guards, you stand your back row dragoroid rear guards as well if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. Wait a minute, a right line that doesn't have an ability on turn 1, a search ability that's specific but random, and a Vanguard that increases your trigger's power and shield. This is just Hexaorb Sorceress that tries to hide under the guise of a dragoroid trafficker. So it wasn't Dragon Empire who got screwed over this week but Keta Sanctuary. If you're still not convinced, her third ability is literally a easier and faster version of Bastion Prime. Minimum Tria Dobra, when discarded from hand during your ride phase, lets you call herself to rear guard and rest. If you have a Razeblaze Vanguard, you call her and stand instead if your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. If Lyrical Monasteria had a stride deck, this would have been one of its tech options, if not for that archetype restriction. First challenge Svinny once per turn while on rear guard, lets you pay 2 energy to give one of your dragoroid units 5k power. With how that mixing bowl matching the color of her apron and her right hand holding it from the bottom, she looked like she was pregnant from afar. And who the hell bakes with their hands with so many jewelry accessories? Her cooking is a choking hazard waiting to happen. After Dark out comes 4A when placed on rear guard from hand, lets you add up to 1 normal order card from the top 5 cards of your deck. If you have a Razeblaze Vanguard, then put 1 card from hand into your soul if you added a card with this ability. And once per turn while on rear guard, she gets 5k power when she attacks if you have a grade 3 or higher Razeblaze Vanguard. Before anyone asks, yes, this card doesn't get punished. You get a chance to add a normal order without any cost for just calling her. Then putting a card in hand into soul isn't really seen as a negative these days, especially since Strigger is also a dragoroid and is practically begging to be played in this deck. Winter Live Check, it is a normal order card that when played, charges 3 energy. Then countercharge 1 damage if you Persona Road that turn. Why the hell is this not archetype restricted? The nation was already never fucking punished. Now they have a way to get back both energy and counter blast. And then Razeblaze's entire gimmick is to search for this card. I would even go on as to say this is a better caliber. That card lets you choose between 2 effects. This card gives you both, as long as you fulfill its condition. Not even a Regalis piece can match the power creep of this nation. Bright Scale Liliouza once per turn while on rear guard lets you have her get 5k power when she attacks while you have 3 back row dragoroid in rest. But she gets retired at the end of the turn and you draw a card if you use this ability. And while on the Guardian Circle, she gets 5k shields if you have a Raise Blaze Vanguard. Still believe this nation is never fucking punished. If you manage to bounce this card back to your hand after using her ability, you still get to draw on end phase because you do as much of the skill as possible. Enthusiastic Serving Deletta while in the drop zone lets you pay 1 counter and Soul Blast if you have a grade 3 or higher Folia Vanguard to call herself. And while on the back row center rear guard, you can rest 3 back row dragoroid units at the beginning of your battle phase to give your Folia Vanguard a continuous ability that gives all your front row units 5k power, but they get 10k power instead if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. Then put this unit into your soul at the end of the turn you use this ability and draw a card. I would say this Maple clone has a hefty cost, but seeing the previous cards earlier it really isn't. And now this card is ripping off Leonorn with her back row boosters, but this only goes up to 10k power to the front row. I'm just glad they don't have a Rosarium Fairy clone. Finally, here's Folia's LSR artwork in which she's pole dancing for what appears to be at a Christmas party. Never thought I'd see the day where Bushiroad acknowledges the Gunnar aspect of this nation. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members for continuing to support my content creation. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if you started to write Bastion and Hexaorb fanfics because of Folia.